Hello, and welcome back to The Fork in the Road. So this week I sat down and talked about the spirit and community of music, film, and literature, from opening our eyes to the third dimension in music to the similarities in community building between religious text and fictional text, as well as the impacts a good movie can have on an individual. I talked about it all. So, I know this episode is really different from our usual template, and it's connected loosely but not concretely to all the other content we have, but this is a conversation that I really wanted to have, so I hope you enjoy episode 9 and let me know what you think. Welcome back. I'm very excited for this week because it's just me, but if you're not very excited because you don't really want to listen to Keaton blabber with just himself for an undeterminate amount of time, then I understand. And genuinely, I get it. But I think it's going to be great because we're going to be talking about film, literature, and music, which are three things that have affected my life a lot. Like all of my life, my whole life. Not in that specific order. I'm going to start with music because if you know me, and you're an active part of my life, you know I'm consistently listening to music and making a fool out of myself for people to enjoy. So I have my entire outline of the episode right here. So there's going to be a lot of, and it doesn't really matter if you're listening. I guess you guys don't really care, but if you're watching me, I'm sorry. To start us off, I watched this TED Talk called Music, Spirituality, and the Whisper That Connects Us All by Angie Nussey. And I'll have the link in the description so you can go watch it if you so please. And she was talking about looking for the third dimension in music. And what I got from that is music can be listened to on a surface level, but actually listening to music provides an experience that is not completely surface level, like I just said. There's obviously understanding and listening to the lyrics, to the story of the artist that is producing the music that you're listening to. But I would say even and especially for me in the rhythm and the movement of the music, it feels as though my being, who I am, feels welcome within the rhythm and the beat of the music. And I know a lot of you aren't really going to understand that. And I think that's okay because it's my interpretation and you're going to have a different interpretation, and that's just the way it is. But in my experience, it was a really hard transition from completely disregarding spirituality to understanding the impact that it has on my life. So, when I was first introduced to religion, I went to Sunday school, and it was awesome. I loved Sunday school. Show up to Sunday school, get free pancake breakfast. Boom. I'm already game. I don't even care what I have to do for the rest of the day. I'm happy. Then there would be some times where we would, especially when we were younger, because we didn't have our Sunday school actually on the church. We had to walk to a little house. We would go in there for lessons with our Sunday school teachers. And my favorite lessons were always the ones with snacks.
I'm a fat. It's okay though.
So when they took us over to this little house and they taught us about when Jesus, I don't want to offend anybody because I don't remember this correctly, but we broke bread and we gave fish because there was a story in which he did that. And then communion, we would always have grape juice and crackers, and that was always fun, especially because there were rice crackers and I never got those at home. Anyways, I'm rambling. The point is that Sunday school wasn't really a religious experience for me. It was, I'm socializing with a new group of people. I get a free breakfast and I get to sing songs. I really did enjoy when we did choir in church after Sunday school in the actual service, but I wasn't always there for that. I didn't really understand what people meant when they said we are all children of God, because I had always been so rational, and I think I'm a very rational thinker all the time, which it's not bad to think rationally, like we just said in the epistemology episode, but you need to be questioning your rational thinking all the time, because if you're consistently thinking rationally, then you're going to start walking around like a robot. And once you do that, people are going to be like, who the heck is that? That's a robot, not a human being. And nobody wants that, right? But I did understand, like, the song We Are Family by Sister Sledge, because it explains that they've got all their sisters, their brothers and sisters together, and that they're stronger when they're together and they stand up and they're singing. And it's like, when I was younger, I didn't feel as though I needed to follow a religion. And when people forced it on me, I felt less inclined to get into it. And I'll talk about how that's changed. Maybe not later in this episode, but maybe eventually. But, like, this song, whether I knew it at the time, was driving home the same notion: we are all children of God. But it was delivering it in a little rational package for me, who I didn't see a need for religion, and I didn't really understand it, so I didn't practice it. Growing up, I felt different, obviously, as we all do. I didn't really enjoy hanging out with other guys, other than, like, my core group of guy friends, much, because, I don't know, I just tended to have more female friends. I enjoyed fiction and fantasy and superheroes and a bunch of other niche stuff that, like, the girls were into more than the boys were, or at least the ones in my vicinity. So I didn't really connect well with the boys. And, like, sure, with sports, I connected with the boys sometimes, but I don't know, including myself. It's just like, we have so much emotion, and it's like, Argh! Sometimes you just gotta think, you know? Music found a way to connect me with everybody, especially at summer camps. I used to go to this summer camp called Adventures in the Sun, and when we were on the bus on the way back from our field trips, we would be screaming, "Turn on the radio, bus driver, turn on the radio." And there's literally nothing like 20 to 30 kids, prepubescent children, screaming Katy Perry in 30-degree weather. I bet, like, he absolutely enjoyed that, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I work at summer camps now. I still turn up to Katy Perry, scream it all the time. If you're not doing that, you're not living right. And that is advice that's a hill I'll die on. The rest of this, all the stuff we've said for however many episodes, debatable. We can have conversations about it. But yelling Katy Perry, 100%. Sorry. No discussion. In school, I went to King George, and they did a really good job integrating music with school activities. Halloween, Christmas, La Festival d'Hiver, Remembrance Day, the Terry Fox Run. They all had songs that connected us. And throughout my school experience, really helped cement the lessons that we were supposed to be getting from, say, Remembrance Day or, say, the Terry Fox Run. Because, like, 500 miles? Or, yeah, I think it's called 500 miles. Every time I hear that song, I think about Terry. Obviously, I don't sit there and ponder about the entire run that Terry did, but he's definitely the first thought that pops into my mind. And cancer is terrifying, you know? It sucks he had to go through something like that. His family had to go through something like that. And the music really helped me reflect, because it was an upbeat, cheerful song, but it was connected to such a sad story, and I don't know, it just resonated with me. In my experience, music really helps with circular thought patterns. Kale's mentioned in a previous episode that in the cycle of depression, you just need to do a little more to break the cycle. And when I feel myself running away mentally, the rhythm, the fluidity, the familiarity of the music, it really, really grounds me. And I understand not everybody is like that. They don't understand what I mean when I say I can feel the rhythm. I can move with the music. The music is fluid. But in my experience, everybody can learn this ability. It's not going to be easy for everybody. It'll be easier for other people. But the more music you listen to, the easier it'll get. I also believe music is huge for community and connection. Billie Eilish, even though I don't like her, Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, and J. Cole are just a few names of celebrities around the world that have almost cult-like followings. And I'm not saying, like, maybe cult isn't the right word, cult-ish, with a star. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like a movement. When people disrespect J. Cole, myself included, I get violently combative about it because that's the king of the rap game. I have no clue how you could possibly have something bad to say about the guy who's been keeping the game alive for however many years. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's like, that's my biased opinion, of course, but they're international superstars. And when people go to their concerts, you remember when Justin Bieber was on top of the world and the purple 3D glasses were out? You know what I'm saying? The girls in my school, they would fight over the 3D glasses. They would talk about how many times they went to see the movie. I went to see it once. I got my 3D glasses. I absolutely loved it. Justin Bieber absolutely messed it up in that movie. Like, brother, fire. But, like, it was all the time. And One Direction after that. You know what I'm saying? Taylor Swift now, still. I don't get it. I really don't. Some of it, yeah. But most of it, I'm just like, this makes me want to cry, man. For myself, as you can tell, I have so many troubles focusing. And, like, if I could find a way to listen to music while I did this, it would be so much easier. But it helps me focus. It affords me a target point for my thoughts, which lets me focus on whatever I happen to be doing at the time. When I'm studying or when I'm reading, though, my ADHD gets absolutely wild, and music with words makes it worse. So that's when I'm listening to, like, jazz music or lo-fi hip-hop. It helps me focus on the work I'm doing and increase productivity, but it still keeps my wild thought tendencies occupied, because, like, while the forefront of my brain is focused on the activity that I'm doing, that little jump in my head that's saying, we gotta move. What's next? The next activity, you know, that's focused on the rhythm and the beat, so I can sit there and I can grind. So I don't know, it doesn't work for everybody, but it worked for me. I wanted to talk about Holy by Justin Bieber and Chance the Rapper, because this song, when it came out, I was like, it's okay. I love Chance the Rapper, by the way. Like, I'd take anybody I know, go ask them who's in my top 5. If they forget Chance, then I just don't know them, apparently. This song pretty much saved me in the first part of the quarantine. I don't really know how important it is for people to hear artists who they connect with and they jive with the way I do with Chance the Rapper, preach the gospel or preach anything through song. But this was one of the songs that touched me at my lowest point. And it was like, I was sitting there and this song came on and all the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. And an influx of emotion. I could not contain it. I was just bawling in the bathroom and I had no clue why. And I pondered afterwards and I understood. But the line in the song where Chance says, I know I ain't leaving you, like I know he ain't leaving us. I know we believe in God, and I know God believes in us. It makes the hair on my neck stand up, like I said. And I get a little rush of dopamine that I know that other people experience. Like Chance the Rapper may not be seeing the same face of God. He may not even be recognizing the same facets of God that I am. But he knows he's there. And I also know he is there, or she is there. You know what I'm saying? And that gives me comfort, because the way Chance holds himself and what he puts out into the world through his music, I think is absolutely incredible. What he's done for the city of Chicago is absolutely incredible. So hearing him talk about it was an avenue for me and my little rational mind, like I was talking about before. These type of things really cracked at my barriers when it came to understanding spirituality, my spirituality at the very least, and my relationship with religion. I just wanted to talk about One Love. It was a festival in 2015 was the last year it happened in Calgary, and it's a crime it's not happening anymore. But being one of the hundreds of people that was like simultaneously turning up to Big Sean, it made me feel like I had a core memory with all these faceless, nameless strangers around me. And regardless of if they ever know me, if they ever see me again, it doesn't matter. Because in that moment, we were living through the fluidity of the music. We were living through the story that Big Sean was telling, through his lyrics. And together, I don't know, it was a community. We were together, diving in the mud. So, I'm gonna hit some water first. No, I'm not. Now I want to talk about books. Okay? So, in the What Makes You Happy with Jacob, I mentioned that I don't think anybody reads enough, and I stand by that. Another hill I'll die on. Those are the only two. Katy Perry, screaming it, and that people don't read enough. And I understand why people don't read enough, because I'm the same way. Books occupy me during the school year, because they're forced on me. And then afterwards, I'm like, I have to read my entire school year. Why would I want to read now? And it's awful, I understand. But I used to sit and read and just fall into the world of whatever I was reading. And I think the way the world is now, with our constant need for instant gratification, nobody has the ability to just sit and read anymore in their casual free time. And I think that's a crime. I genuinely think that's a crime. And I know there are people who are going to hear these things and say, word, me too. When I say at 11 years old, I was cheesed after not getting my letter to Hogwarts. Like, bro, no disrespect to Harry, but I don't have broken eyes. I got fully functioning vision. And they picked him over me? Are you kidding? Just because of a scar? Bro, wild. At 9 to 12 years old, I didn't get no glowing letters over my head. You know what I'm saying? No trident. No lightning bolt. Those are the only ones I really wanted. That's not true. Artemis, that would have been cool, but she doesn't have any kids. So, yeah, not being called the Camp Half-Blood, pissed. Because Percy in the books, that's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And Logan Lerman, that's my dog. But Percy in the movies, that dunderhead is the son of Poseidon, and you're telling me I couldn't be? Wild. And then ages 10 to 12, for me at least, because this is when they came out, me and my friends beating the living out of each other on the playground with various gym instruments and calling it the Hunger Games. I don't think you understand. We got so many games banned at King George, we ended up having to play full contact Duck Duck Goose by the end of grade 6, because everything else we just weren't allowed. And the Hunger Games, you could only imagine. If you're my friend, running up to you full force and bending a badminton racket over your back. Why? I don't know, because we were insane. I'm sorry if you were friends with me. So if I had these experiences living in Calgary, Alberta, and there's people all over the world who are also having these experiences, then it stands to reason that books and literature have the ability to build worldwide communities that connect us all. Fair enough? Like, is that fair to say? I believe that's fair to say. Obviously, the Bible, the Quran, etc., provide ample evidence for the reach of lessons taught by reading through the pages of a book. However, I know not everybody can just understand that stuff. I can't just understand that stuff, so this is why I'm talking about other stuff. But it's connected, you know? I don't understand any of it, like I just said, but I want to, because I enjoy finding new ways to get closer with God, no matter the face they bear. And when I was a kid, those gods were not reading stories about Jesus in the Bible, because that was boring. Those gods were the Greek and the Roman and the Egyptian pantheons, because those are awesome, and they provided me lessons. This is important that I say this, regardless of your stance on the religious side of it. There are huge lessons, I believe, that can be learned from fiction and non-fiction literature in my mind. So, some examples of books that I've read that changed me, and these are all old, so like there's been a lot more since then, but I feel like these are important and should be read. The first one is The Giver. I read it in 2011, so I was in grade 5, and it taught me that my path was my own, and that being different was the only way to color my world, same way he did. Sure, I didn't see myself in Jonas, I think that's his name, but That was crazy. That book made me think. At 11 years old, I was sitting there. I was like, this is ridiculous, man. Like, what? And it was awesome. Underground to Canada, 2011, I read this book. So also when I was in grade 5, shout out to Madame Fafard. I don't know how she would hear this, but she was awesome. She was my teacher at King George, and she gave me this book. It taught me that no matter how good of a person you are, you're still going to go through immeasurable struggles sometimes. Immeasurable. But family, persistence, some intelligence, and a little optimism will have you changing the world, or at least your world. And in my estimation, got to do at least that. Change your world a little bit every day. It's also one of the books, along with To Kill a Mockingbird, that helped me start to accept and embrace my black identity after being conflicted over who I am for so many years. I don't really want to dive more into it than that, but being biracial, regardless of what two races those are, it's a very tough road. I'm not gonna lie. So, I don't know if you have biracial friends and they come asking questions, if you have biracial kids and they come asking questions, just give them some love, right? Because they just want to know. That's half of me that I'd like to know about. I don't know. I said I wasn't going to get into it, and then I got into it. I'm capping. Sorry. The third one, the Harry Potter series, the Percy Jackson series, the Kane Chronicles, and Magnus Chase. All of these protagonists taught me that being loyal and trusting in your friends will be the reason that you can get through Goliath-sized problems. Sure, Harry, Percy, Magnus, and the Kane siblings all did dumb shit in the name of their friends, but if you're not doing dumb shit in their name, are they really your friends? Think about that. Bad advice. With me, Keaton Taylor. So, I don't mean to reduce religions to being the same as fandoms for fictional or non-fictional novels, but what I'm attempting to do is to show you the importance of finding whatever literal, physical, or spiritual ways you can and are comfortable with using, and use them to connect with others. My argument for literature is one, it's a dying art form. Like I said, people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter because we love ingesting quick media. And there's no explicit problem with that, but I feel like reading challenges your brain in other ways that other activities can't, especially long-form reading, story recall, plot recall. That's a very difficult skill. So reading long books, that's a big skill. It provides people with opportunities to look at old paradigms, states of the world, and to see how those times influence the literature. It keeps your mind sharp, in my experience. Word recall is very difficult, and it immediately improves as soon as I start reading for pleasure. Doesn't matter if it's fiction or non-fiction, especially in other languages. If you know 2 languages, as soon as I start reading more stuff in French, I remember more words in French. Holy crap, makes a lot of sense. Okay, hear me out. Girls love the guys that read. But more importantly, reading helps the guys see through some of the games that the girls are playing. But on the flip side of the coin, guys love the girls that read. And I'm sorry, ladies, I don't think reading is going to help because guys don't make any sense. But that's okay. We're going to run with it. Reading makes us all smarter. It's going to drive the human race to explore more of space and more of the ocean, which is cool. So read. Last, final words. That's all I have to say on that. Movies and film. I could talk about this forever. Just a heads up. I'm a movie junkie. A good movie and a good conversation are really all I need. Nothing fulfills me more than one of those 2 things. And I don't feel entitled to critique movies, so instead I'm going to give you my very biased personal reactions and experiences with some movies as an attempt to show you how it connects me with other people. The first one is Les Intouchables, only the French version. I love Kevin Hart, but the Upside was criminally worse than Les Intouchables, and if you watch the Upside and tell me, I've seen Les Intouchables, no you haven't. It's not the same movie, and don't argue with me. Normally argue with me, this is the third hill I'll die on, okay? 3 of them. Katy Perry. I don't remember the second hill. And Les Intouchables and The Upside. It was the first movie in French immersion that I felt the whole class enjoy from start to finish. We watched it in FLA 30-2, so keep that in mind. We also had a teacher substitute because our regular teacher was going through it, and this teacher substitute we had was a complete pylon. Like, she was a doormat. We walked all over her. I feel awful, but we stayed engaged and quiet for 2 full periods watching this movie. It reminds me that people with physical or mental disabilities are very, very similar to what is deemed normal, us normal people. And that's how, like in the movie, a little love goes a long way. Doesn't matter who you are. If you have money, if you don't have money. If you have legs, if you don't have legs. A little love goes a long way. The Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, Endgame in particular. I watched characters since I was 8, like Tony and Steve and Bruce, grow and completely change over 10 years. And then I watched transitions to new black heroes, like Chadwick Boseman, who is in the back of my phone. Rest in peace. The new Captain America for my kids. Female heroes like Black Widow and the Scarlet Witch, who are absolutely elite for my daughters. And openly LGBTQ characters like Loki, and hopefully more in the future for my brothers and sisters in that community. You know what I'm saying? They took over. They took the mantle, and now it's huge. Like, Marvel is huge on the cinematic stage, and the fact that it's being headlined by people of every community. Okay, sorry, I can't say that. Not every community. But they're working in the right direction, right? And I think you got to be thankful for it. Obviously, that's not the focus. You're going to watch a Marvel movie. It's a Marvel movie. Enjoy it. But I'm just saying. In the packed theater in Camrose, I vividly remember the feeling of butterflies when Cap started swinging Mjolnir for the first time. And then you see the guy in, like, the Camrose superfan, shoot his infinity gauntlet in the air, all light up. And then the whole theater just blows up in cheers as he lets it go and just hits Thanos in the bottom of the chin. He's like, oh, it's awesome. And nothing made me feel better than having Nick on one side and Evan Richard on the other side. And when Chadwick walked through that portal, I just, Wakanda forever, man. Like, I couldn't handle myself, and they had to hold me back because I was going to go flying out of my chair into the next row. And they took my nerd hobby. I didn't read the comics when I was little, but I started reading them now because of the movies. And I don't want to offend any weird comic book nerds. I'm sorry. Don't attack me if I get things wrong. I'm sorry. It's not that serious. But my nerd hobby turned into a digestible, awesome, emotion-evoking empire, and it's provided me with so many experiences to connect with however many people I wouldn't even have talked to before if they hadn't said, and not just because I didn't want to, but if they hadn't said something about Marvel, probably wouldn't have stopped and taken the time to have that big of a conversation, you know what I'm saying? Because I love Marvel. Anyways, I'm done being a loser. Movies that make you think. I think this is a genre of film that is dying, and I hope it comes back. I really hope it revives itself somehow. Because, like, have you ever stood up from a movie and you're just like, bro, what the f***? Because if you haven't, go watch any Christopher Nolan film, especially Memento. Let me list off a quick number of these type of films that I think you guys should watch. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Interstellar, The Da Vinci Code, Gattaca, Zodiac, Memento and Tenet, Nightcrawler, Glass Castle, Into the Wild, The Help, and Marshall. Just a few. I have a huge list in my phone. Ask me about the list. I dare you to ask me about the list. Movies are the way to go, man. Like, honestly, 2 hours of your time, and if it's a good movie, euphoria for basically 2 hours. And if it's a bad movie, at least you're learning more about film and about what makes the movies you enjoy. and then you can talk about them with people. And I think that act of community, regardless of if it's a spiritual community, provides us more opportunities to talk about spiritual things, or more avenues to produce these spiritual things and these spiritual conversations. Nobody's saying you need to make everything about spirituality and about religion, but my little rational mind that I've been talking about this whole episode, I really needed somebody to dig at it for me, break down the walls and show me how I can be a science student and genuinely believe in everything I'm learning. Not as an ultimate truth, but as very, 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 very good evidence for biological phenomenon. You know what I'm saying? There are some complete truths, but a lot of it is just very, 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 very good evidence. And then I can go from that and still think, regardless if it's a he or she, what face they take, there's someone up there watching over me, loving me. When I can't love myself, when my family isn't around here to love me, looking out for me, it takes a weight off of my shoulders. And I believe and understand that not everybody is going to be like that. Not everybody's going to understand the stuff that I'm saying. But it helped me. It really did. And I think this was a conversation that needed to be had. It sucks I couldn't have had it with somebody else, but I'm having it with you guys because I think this is very, very important stuff. Because we're talking about three pretty surface level things, if you think about it. Books, film, and music. And I don't think they're surface level at all. All I know is that these forms of media have helped change my life, like I said, by providing me with experience and connecting me with others. Obviously, Kale, Evan, and I have been speaking for a global community, and we're trying to vie for more unity. And this is a superficial level of community, sure, some of it. I believe it can be a transitionary first medium to ingest new information, If anything, I want you guys to take from this episode a movie, a story, or a song shared between two people who care about the betterment of each other can be as healing and opening as a prayer. And that's that. Ba-da-ba-boom. Pow. Well, you did it. Congratulations. You listened to me blabber about valuable nonsense for half an hour. Thank you so much, genuinely, from Kale, Evan, and myself, for taking the time to sit here and listen to us. I've been checking the statistics, and there's 37 active listeners on Spotify. So that means there's 37 people out in the world that are listening to me and not thinking I'm an idiot. Listening to Kale and Evan and thinking their words have value. So we genuinely appreciate the opportunity that you're giving us. And I just wanted to pop in to let you guys know that episode 10 will be the season finale of the first season of The Fork in the Road. We're going to have some polls and opportunities to provide us feedback after the final episode airs over on our Instagram at The Fork in the Road Podcast. PC, not podcast, on Instagram. So please take the time to let us know what you think and to help us improve for future seasons of The Fork in the Road. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.